Do you know who is really paying the price for your ayahuasca enlightenment? Many places in Peru are open day by day, many centers that are selling retreats in healing. When you go to a local shaman in the Amazon, you will have a session. The shaman will check what is the problems and will tell you what you need to heal. Usually you need to stay for a period of time and take other plants, and it's required to do a diet that is very known as la dieta with master plants, and those master plants will be the ones doing the healing, doing the work that the energy, the mind, the spirit needs. And ayahuasca will be just the scalpel that will help to remove the things that already has been softened inside of us with the help of these plants. And it's very important that we understand that ayahuasca cannot heal everything. It's important that we understand that there is a tourist growing business about ayahuasca, and we need to inform ourselves and to support local shamans, local families having their centers. We are nowadays traditional centers competing with businesses that are offering, toilets, hot showers, extra blankets, more comfort, when the whole point and essence of our tradition of doing diets is absolutely the opposite. Is to come back to humbleness, is to come back to simplicity, is to have appreciation for the things that we have. It's not to go back to recreate the same environment that make us sick, the same comfort. The La Dieta and healing with plants is to take us out of our comfort zone, is to push us and to help us to squish all the things that shouldn't be inside of us. And that happens only when we are out of our comfort zone. And many people coming to the Amazon doesn't understand this, like why I shouldn't have hot water or a toilet in the jungle. Where do you think all of that waste will go? Ayahuasca is helping us to gain consciousness. So all the centers that are basically doing the opposite of what the medicine is showing us, we should be concerned about it. We should bring awareness to these places, what we are spreading, what are we sharing, what we are transmitting. Ayahuasca is a plant of consciousness, and consciousness starts at home. It starts with oneself. It starts with our shamans. Nowadays, many shamans are being exploited in centers where they don't have medical insurance, and you will ask me why a shaman will need medical insurance, where there are emergencies sometimes where a doctor is needed. We shouldn't dismiss the advances and the help of the medical system. We are not separated. We need each other. We need to create union between our practices so we can help people. Doctors and shamans, we have the same purpose and mission to help people. And many shamans in many centers, they don't have rights. They don't have contracts. Many people working in centers are working for the minimum salaries, and shamans can be exploited. Retreat after retreat, they are not given the time to recover. They are not given the time to recharge their batteries. They don't get paid vacations for taking the time to enjoy the income they are receiving for the work that they are doing, because it's a very big sacrifice and work and commitment that the shaman does when it's learning from the plants. It's just like going to university for 5-7 years. You go to the forest, you are isolated, you are fasting, you are forced to check all the things that you carry inside, to confront all your fears, to learn how to navigate between worlds, that you're able to help people, to learn how the energies are working. Too many times we need to face very negative and dark energies and forces to help people to heal. There are many aspects of this world that we don't know, that people is not aware of. Many times shamans are risking their lives in ceremonies to save people. People that comes with addictions, people that comes feeling depressed, that has traumas, many of these people carrying negative energies, negative spirits. We need to fight with these energies that we can help people to get healed. And in order for us to do this work, we need to recharge our batteries. We need to have that power of the plants to be able to bring it to the ceremonies. The shamans has just the same responsibility as any doctor in an operation room. And for a doctor to do a good operation, he needs to train. It's the same for the shamans in the Amazon. Just that we are also operating souls. This is the biggest responsibility too. A bigger responsibility too, where we not only take care of physical bodies but also of the souls of people. And it's very important that people understand that there is a big preparation for a shaman before going to do a ceremony. And many times centers are using shamans non-stop, ceremony after ceremony, not considering the amount of energy that the shaman needs to deliver healing. And that's why many times when there is big groups, people can experience negative aspects of ayahuasca, and not because ayahuasca is bringing something bad, it's because the space sometimes is not well protected, because the people that is holding the space needs to be stronger than all the energies that are in that space. And people brings all kinds of different energies to the space, so they can jump between people. And maybe you come in a very good state and then you leave feeling not so well. And this is not because of ayahuasca. The ayahuasca opens portals to communicate with different realms, with all kinds of energy. And that's why it's important, the role of the shaman, because the shaman has the understanding, the awareness, the training to identify all these kind of different vibrations and frequencies and to clear them as well. Many times when we go to retreats, we think that that will solve all our problems, but that is a lie. There is not yet a pill invited. There is not yet a magic pill that has been invented to heal us immediately. Everything requires a process, because time also was passing for us to come to the place where we are. Year by year, things has been building us within us, diseases, emotions, blockages. So it is not congruent to think that in one ceremony you are going to heal. And many times shamans need to work in people more than one ceremony, and many times we need the help of other plants that we can help people better. And that's why it's so important that we start to understand that if we want to heal with the plants, we are a big part of that healing to happen to us. We are responsible for our healing. Plants are not taking away that responsibility. In fact, they are giving us as much as we give from ourselves. That's why when you come to retreats, the preparation is so important. And it's not because ayahuasca is asking us to do this, but it's because that's how the change begins, with us recovering sensitivity, recovering touch, recovering balance with ourselves, so we can work. In which sense? Because when we are aligned, when we are balanced, when we are in a harmonious state of being, we are open. We can listen through our hearts. We can see with clarity. We can receive the messages with clarity. So the journey with ayahuasca is a very beautiful experience. But when we are not, when we have blockages, we cannot connect, we cannot see, our minds takes over. It can become a hard experience, confusing experience. So that's why sometimes there is a preparation. But many times this preparation is misunderstood with la dieta. That is the most important part of healing with plants, and especially with ayahuasca. This is where the real healing is happening, when you are taking the master plants. And the master plants are many of them, and for all kinds of problems. And the shamans are studying these plants by doing the same procedure of doing la dieta too, for certain periods of time. There are shamans that has specialized in different plants. I want to specialize, for example, in Bovinsana, which is the plant of unconditional love and the heart and healing emotions. And I will be like a cardiologist in the doctor, in the medical system, understanding there are plants for everything to heal every kind of problem. But then again, everything requires time. Nowadays, we are facing a very big crisis of values and integrity in everywhere, including spiritual circles. And this is affecting the knowledge and traditional practice and wisdom of indigenous shamans in everywhere, especially in Peru, where our knowledge, our tradition, our wisdom is being changed and twisted and accommodated to satisfy the comfort aspects for Westerns to come to heal, taking away all the purpose of the tradition and how we heal with the plants. It has a structure. It's in isolation, it's with fasting, it's without contact with other people, and all of these elements are important because they will bring awareness. They will help us to detox the body, the mind, the spirit, and the energy. They will help us to observe where our disease and our problems are being created, so we can gain wisdom from that experience. To have problem in our life is not a negative thing. It's a way to grow. It's a way to expand our consciousness. It's a way of learning something. That's why healing is a journey, and it has different aspects. And when we get heartbroken, there is their healing journey. And most of us has gone through this kind of experiences, and most of us sometimes try to ignore and jump into relationships very fast, or self-indulge into things that are distracting us from connecting with our emotions, like alcohol, like drugs, like sex. So there are so many things that we are using to escape from being in touch with ourselves nowadays. And plant medicine and the tradition behind las dietas are very crucial in the times that we are living, because they are calling us back to take that inner look that we need. Nowadays, we need to retrieve from the toxic environments that we have been grown up. It's time for us to wake up and to realize what is really important in life, to develop consciousness in all the aspects of ourselves, in how we relate with us, with our food, with our education, with our clothing, with what we are creating here, with our jobs, with our purposes. Plant medicine is helping to bring this awareness, and that is why it's so important that we protect the tradition, that we protect indigenous shamans, that we protect ayahuasca, because if not, we are going to eradicate this beautiful and sacred medicine. The diets are important to help ayahuasca to heal us. If not, we need to drink more and more and more and more ayahuasca, and that is not the point. The reason why you need more ayahuasca is because you have more work to do, you have more blockages, you have more energies to release. Ayahuasca wants to set us free. Once you start healing through the diets, you start to reduce the amount of ayahuasca that you need to take, and you come to a point where you don't need it anymore, because you feel fulfilled, you feel good, you feel that you can receive the answers yourself. Because we are sensitive beings, we have the capacity for get that connection with ourselves and receive the answers and guidance that our life needs. Plants only comes when we have a spiritual calling, when there is some kind of awakening or healing that we need to do. That's why in this tradition is the plants that call us to discover something. Everybody that has done ayahuasca has received this call to try it. Most of the people has awakened to a new way of seeing life, and it's very important that if we want to continue to see progress with this tool, that we need to do diets. If we have been benefiting from ayahuasca and doing so many ceremonies, it is time to do diets, because it comes to a point where there is not more progress, because the next step is really to go yourself in your own inner journey. There, ayahuasca cannot guide you anymore. It's you, the one that needs to take the decision of spend time with yourself and letting yourself to be guided through all the emotions that will come. And when you are in this place where there's nobody to blame, where you're isolated and you still feel this anger and this pain, then who is behind all of these emotions? What is operating? What is hurting us? What is making us angry? And that is what we need to look at, free and transform. That's why the diets are so important. In my experience, I wish that all humans in my understanding and my journey, I wish that all humans will have the opportunity to experience at least once in life to do a diet. It's like initiation is an important step in life to find answers, to find connection, to build up consciousness. The only way to protect our medicine, ayahuasca, and to protect the tradition and the traditional ways of healing from the indigenous shaman is by respecting them, is by protecting them. Again, it is very important to protect our medicine, ayahuasca. That's why it's crucial to protect the knowledge of indigenous people and not to let ourselves to be seduced by the comfort that many places nowadays are selling for our healing. I don't have anything against this. I think there are certain parts in our journey where we can enjoy certain level of comfort, but without attachments, and that is not a condition to heal. Many people, they put a condition like, oh, I don't want to go to the jungle because of the mosquitoes, I don't want to go there because it's so hot, I don't want to go there because I don't have a toilet, because there is not hot water, or I will not choose to go to the locals to support them to receive real healing because of that, because I don't have a hot water, because I don't have a bathroom. This exactly takes away all the purpose of plant medicine, which is bring consciousness to reconnect us with simplicity, with becoming humble in our life, and also with taking care of our planet. Is where all this waste, from having toilets, flushable toilets in the jungle goes, and how much water is needed. In the waste in the jungle, like compost toilets, or to have, a place on the forest. That's how I was doing my training. We didn't have toilets, we have the trees, and every morning it was everything clean because nature was taking care. And this is how we used to preserve and live before. Now I'm not saying like let's all do that. I think like there is place always to improve, but we have lost consciousness and understanding of why we have created the conform. We have lost touch, I think, and forgotten what brought us, to the comfort that we are living now, and that was having hard life, not having a roof, facing so many problems, making everything more efficient. And now that we can enjoy of all of that efficiency, comfort, we need to detach. That is what consciousness is bringing. Yes, we can enjoy it, but it doesn't change us. It doesn't make us feel superior. It doesn't make us feel better than others. It doesn't make us think like we are more clever, than the people in the jungle that doesn't have all of these, commodities. Because who will suffer when all of this goes away is oneself. So the more attachment that we have to all of these things, the more suffering that we will have. So it's important in life to understand that everything that we have is serving experience for us, and sometimes it's important to retrieve and to see who is serving a purpose for what, and how our comfort is affecting our planet, affecting our relationships and our environments. It's very sad that nowadays many shamans that has dedicated many years to this work for a purpose of helping people dies in poverty after giving so many years sometimes to places that don't value them as persons but as also healing machines that are delivering healing for everybody that comes and pay for it. In the old times, we didn't receive as many people as nowadays are coming to heal. It was more of an individual journey where people will come with the time that they have. There was not a set time. It was an opening to like, I'm coming to heal. I stay until I am done with my healing. Of course, we are always healing, but when it comes to specific things to heal, when it comes to diseases, to traumas, to emotional problems, everything takes time. It was much easier to help people in that rhythm, but now also our spiritual practice is being affected by the Western world where we need, a fixed time for everything. I don't say that having a structure is negative, but it's about finding balance between what we want, what we need, and also coherence in between, like what do you really need for healing. Understanding that healing needs time, and everybody is a different person, is a different universe, and maybe some people takes more time than others. Maybe for some people it's easier to change their life because they just needed that kind of reconnection or understanding with something, and they will do it. Some other people takes more time to understand certain aspects of their life and journey, that then they can do the changes that they need in life, and that again requires time. And it's very important that we become aware that healing with ayahuasca is not about drinking more and more ayahuasca. It's about really doing the work, and doing the work is taking the time to go to heal. It's like when a person wants to build a beautiful body, you don't go to the gym one weekend and you expect to have a spectacular body, right? There are many changes that you need to do around going to the gym, like your food, your mental set, what intentions you have for what it motivates you to do the change. It's the same with healing with plants, with healing with ayahuasca. You don't just go to do a weekend retreat or a 10-day retreat and expect big changes to happen without you changing things as well outside. Yes, outside that life that is creating the problem. So if you want to lose weight, you don't go to the gym and then go to eat hamburgers again. So the same with healing with the plants. Yes, you get to understand that it's bad for you to lie, it's bad for you to gossip, it's bad for you to be envy or jealous, and that's where you need to start working, like to educate yourself, to have a better approach and transform those those kind of, lower feelings, and starting with identify, like, this is something I no longer want to connect with, for example. Changing habits, it can be difficult, but that is what brings the change and transformation. We don't go to shower and put the same dirty clothes, we just take off and expect to be to smell good and to be clean. So it's the same with healing with the plants. We need to change a lot of things in our lives in order to achieve. And when these things are difficult for us to see or to access, then we need time. We need time, and the time for that understanding is by spending time with ourselves. So this is an invitation for all of those that feels the call to take a step into real healing, to consider to do dietas with master plants. And you don't need to do ayahuasca ceremonies when you're doing a diet. It is not mandatory. When you do the ceremonies when you're taking master plants, it's mainly for the shaman to do like the energetical work, to help you to clean, to harmonize the energy of the plant. When you're doing a diet, you are building a relationship with the plant. You're building an energy inside of you that will help you, will protect you, will teach you things. In order for that connection to happen, we need to spend time with this plant. The ceremonies of ayahuasca during diets are also very different than when you just do ceremonies, because for every day that you are cleaning yourself and that you are reharmonizing your energy in the nature, you can go to much deeper spaces, realms, and also access more profound information, wisdom, also to travel inside of yourself. Some people can find information about their previous lives, understanding of their families, like generations problems that they carry from their parents, things that they have forgotten as children that happened to them and that created problem, created a trauma that now is affecting our adult life. Simple things like feeling abandoned, feeling rejected, feeling unsafe when we were children, because we all carry those inside of us. The wounds of abandonment, rejection, and not being loved. Those three things are many times recreating situations in our lives that will bring us back to heal those moments. Many shamans in the Amazon are not being paid well enough. There's not a fair trade between the knowledge and all the training and work that ones need to do with the prices that are being charged nowadays in the centers. I know this because I am myself a person that is between cultures. I'm not indigenous in 100%, I'm not also Western, I'm in the middle of these two worlds. This possibility for me is creating a bridge between what shouldn't happen, what is happening in our indigenous community. I have the gratitude in my heart for all indigenous community, my indigenous teachers that has taught me how to work with plant medicine. Without them, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to travel through so many countries. I wouldn't be able to help people as we have been helping through our organization in Taita Inti, and also promote this awareness of how to use plant medicine with consciousness. And that starts with the responsibility of checking who is behind the altar, like who is the shaman, and as well where it's coming from, who is operating all of these big ceremonies, what centers we are going, what centers we are supporting, what integrity we are aligning with, what values the places that we go has. Because the medicine, once again, teaches consciousness, and we need to see this consciousness reflected in all the centers that we visit. If there is not giving back to communities, if there is not awareness about, for example, planting ayahuasca back, farming ayahuasca instead of taking it from the forest, then there is not consciousness in these places, people behind. I am pro-regulation of plant medicine. As a lawyer, I see that our profession has been created because of injustices that it has been going year by year, generation by generation. It's also happening in the spiritual realms. Regulation will bring us to a place of equality and fairness for everybody, where shamans can be respected, where shamans can be recognized, because nowadays the law is having us in the same category as narcotraffics, as people that is selling drugs. And this is very big sadness, that to have indigenous teachers in the same space as somebody in the streets selling drugs, somebody that has hands full of blood with all what drugs are really bringing into our societies, when this medicine, this plant medicine, is sacred and is bringing totally the opposite of what really drugs are bringing. So regulations are important to protect this medicine. It's important to protect our indigenous people, the knowledge as well, and because this knowledge will pass generation by generation and it will help to maintain that consciousness. I'm not saying that we need to drink ayahuasca in further generations, that the goal is that we don't need, that we can start having consciousness and transmit this consciousness through our daily life to our future generations, so they don't need to drink ayahuasca, that they preserve it and that they can talk one day like, well, in the old times we used to drink plants to gain consciousness. That will be very funny. And once they have it, because plant medicine is helping us to regain that understanding of how to access by ourselves. That's the big difference with drugs, that plant medicine, ayahuasca, wants us free, and drugs wants us to be slaves of consuming things to escape reality. Ayahuasca wants to open our eyes to what is real, what we are doing, confronting our darkness and our shadows. Drugs are keeping us in the illusion of darkness, is promoting that comfortable space of darkness, of shallowness, of emptiness. Ayahuasca is many times very difficult for people that has been doing drugs, because it's very hard in the body, in the mind, in the spirit. It really push out all the poison from everywhere. We need to become more conscious. Plant medicine is about consciousness. Plant medicine is making us conscious. This is the goal of ayahuasca and plant medicine, to bring consciousness back, to reconnect us with our consciousness, to reconnect us with God. We receive the consciousness from God, the source of creation. And that's why it's very important that we start to talk more about God in all the spiritual circles, in the shamanic practices as well. This is the name that we have, the great spirit, the great consciousness, the source is just a name. We all know what we're referring when we talk about God. If anything inside of us gets triggered when we speak about it with religions, we should know that there is a big difference between religions and spirituality. That religions doesn't get in the way of finding your true spirituality and your true connection with God, because that resentment that we have, we need to heal it. It is important that we heal it, because if not, we are just falling into the same space that we many times criticize about religions. We also become judge, just like religions is bringing judgment, to people. Spirituality is bringing consciousness, is bringing unity, is bringing love and community, is bringing togetherness, is bringing progress. It's not keeping us in a low state of consciousness and vibration. And this is what we need to start healing. We need to start healing our resentment towards God, our misconceptions about God. We need to take responsibility and educate and find ourselves who is God. We cannot give this responsibility away to our governments, to our education system, to religions, because this is a responsibility that is very personal and very individual. And we all have at some point in our life this call to find where we come from and where we will go and what is happening when we are here in these bodies. We all have these questions, who we are. So I invite you to reflect and to heal the wounds that you have about God, about the spirituality, that you can cultivate real consciousness in your life. I wish you the best as well for your journey with plant medicine, if this is a journey that is calling you. I wish you to be brave, to also motivated to go through all the things that you will need to face. And the most important thing I can recommend you is to be honest. If you are honest, it's much easier. If you are honest with yourself, with the things that you have, if you are not in denial, if you're not fighting again what you have done, we can change the past. The past is already written. But every second in our lives, we have an opportunity to create a new future, to create a new experience, to create a new life. And that is what is more important. But in order to understand that, we first need to make peace with our past, if we have something to look back there. So this was Naysha from the Peruvian Amazon, and I hope this information has bring some consciousness to you. Love and gratitude.